Hello and welcome to my channel where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. We are going to do a What's on Your Plate reading for the sign of Libra. So the purpose of this reading is to take a look at some things that might be on your plate. And how I look at this is from memories I have of growing up and just getting plates and maybe putting too much food on it and then being told that my eyes were bigger than my belly and then having to sit there and eat it. And basically it was kind of like a colloquialism that means that you wanted to eat more than you were capable of actually fitting in your stomach. And like I said, sometimes I'd have to sit at the table and finish it, and it would be tough. Sometimes we get plates and you're not really hungry and you just put a little bit on because you're full from other things. And so we're going to look at a situation that you might be dealing with and see how you might be processing it, if it's a little much for you or if you're not really bothering with it, and get some advice about that, okay? So we are going to use the Rider-Waite deck to get to the root of the situation, and then we're going to clarify with a number of oracle decks. We're going to pull a card to see how many dishes that you're going to be fixing on your plate. We got the number 9, so that's on the upper end. The maximum number of sides you can have is 10, so that's a lot. At the root of this, I'm kind of seeing that you're in a space of kind of using your logic to cut off some situations or things that were causing you some emotional upset. So you might have been resentful of a loss that you had, maybe to a friendship or maybe something that you cared about. And I feel like whatever it was, it could have been kind of toxic in nature. It wasn't really making you feel good, but you were tied to it emotionally. But you're in the energy of, this King of Swords, kind of using your logic and reasoning to kind of cut through the nonsense that doesn't make sense and using that to kind of transform your view of the situation. So basically, just taking stock of what's serving you and what's not, and then having the courage and the personal self-discipline to remove yourself from that and not be swayed by your emotions in that situation. So whatever this is, there's a lot of details to go with that. So let's clarify by first picking out what dishes that you're putting on your plate. Each of these dishes correspond with a deck. So we have field roast with gravy. All right, field roast could be an actual animal that lives on a field, or it could be vegetarian grain-based, depending on what you like, okay? All right, your next dish we have here, we have stuffing with gravy. Honestly, I'm shuffling, and since you almost have every dish, I could probably just pick one card that's not going to be the dish that you have, and then let all the other ones be. We have a wild card, so that's a pick your own deck. We have cranberry sauce, collard greens. In fact, I might do that moving forward. We have yellow cake with chocolate frosting, green bean casserole. Dishes are totally not balanced maybe or the healthiest, but these are my favorites. Mac and cheese. And lastly, we have sweet potato pie. All right. So the only thing you didn't get was the cornbread. Okay. So bread is like a filler, And sometimes people skip bread when they're eating meals because they don't want to become overly full and they want to leave room for the other parts. If you're a meat eater, that could be your meats, your maybe vegetables or grains and things like that. Okay, so all right, so the first dish that we have here, green bean casserole, and this is going to be from our Peace Oracle deck. And we had 2 that came out. So we have blessing and we have everlasting life. So I feel like the reason that you cut this off is because you knew that you would have longevity, that you would be more successful and more blessed if you were able to cut through the things that were holding you back, maybe tying you energetically, to situations that were just not really helpful to you. I'm picking up that this could be an actual relationship. Strongly I'm picking up this could be like a male or masculine energy. This is not necessarily gender-based, but a masculine energy that's engaging with a feminine energy. And you may have felt like maybe you were going to be connected with someone long term, and it just didn't work out that way. I see like you may have been with this person for maybe 3 years, 3 to 5 years, and you just kind of recognize that you were not, what you felt was going to be a blessing wasn't quite panning out that way because it didn't have longevity to it. And I think rather than holding on and allowing this to continue in the state that it was, you decided to kind of remove yourself from the emotion of it and kind of cut it off so that you could have the opportunity to move into that. Okay. All right. The next dish we have is collard greens, which is going to be our abundance angels of abundance. We have detox your friendships. So yeah, that's kind of going along with this theme. It says your abundance flow is being affected by the people with whom you are spending time. So be discerning about your associations and your relationships. Choose to be with people who are inspiring, generous, and supportive. So again, you recognize that you were not being surrounded by people who were supportive of you, that were, I feel like maybe we're not really on your team. Because when you have friends and stuff, sometimes those friends can be frenemies, okay? But if you have the expectation that they're showing up in a way that's going to be long-term, that you're going to get the blessing and the fullness of that relationship, if they're not energetically on that frequency of actually showing up like that, you're not going to get that. And you're going to get the opposite. You're going to get lost. You're going to have strife and stress. And then in your actual life, things don't work out because you're attracting an energy of not necessarily just disorder, but like an entropy, because these close relationships are built on foundations that are not secure. It's like whatever you build with them is destined to kind of come apart, because it's like you're building a house on sand, something that's not secure because the connection is not true. Okay. Next we have stuffing with gravy, which is going to be our sacred traveler oracle cards. Okay. All right, we have reaching your destination. Your light is shining brightly. So I feel like one of the reasons why you might have attracted a relationship like this is because you are a person who is a bright light. Like you either have goals going on, or you look like someone that's trying to go somewhere or do something. And unfortunately, we can attract people to us that are attracted to us just because of that, but they have no intention of actually being loyal, faithful, true friends, you know. They're just there because you're going somewhere and they want to get there, but it doesn't have to do with you. They could get there with anybody. You just happen to be a person that's on a path on the way and they can ride with you. Okay. So sometimes, you know, I hear like people say ride or die. That's what you want. That's not always good because, you know, usually if you to have a ride or die person, is they're usually riding to get somewhere. They're usually not riding just to ride around. It's, you know, we're going to ride along, but you're going somewhere. But the true test is like if you suddenly don't have a place that you're going to, or if you're not going in the direction that they're thinking that you should go, then are they still riding, you know? And I feel like that gets used and thrown around a lot. I also feel like you are making this cut so that you can get to your destination because you realize that your light is being darkened and kind of made more into shadow because of the friendships and relationships that you're in, and it's taking you off your path. It's actually putting you in a frequency or a vibration to bring in things that you don't want, or things that are not on your path for your highest good. Okay. So the next dish we have is cranberry sauce, and we're going to use a Madame Endora card, and we have serendipity. So you have bright new prospects on the horizon, and you know it, and you know that the only way you can do this is to release yourself from this. I'm getting lots of butterflies. So I see butterflies on almost every card, even the King of Swords. So I feel like even though you're taking on this energy of the King of Swords, which sometimes can be perceived as being very, kind of cold and unfeeling and just straight to the point, very logical, it's not coming from a place of lack of empathy or lack of compassion or lack of caring, because there could even be an energy where you making this cut is the person that you're not dealing with, even though they're not really loyal to you, even though they're not really there for you, they could be feeling like you're not being true to them, or you don't care. And it's not that. It's because you've grown and you're allowing yourself to, you want to be free. You want to transform into a butterfly, so that you can be the fullness of who you are. And you can't do that where you were. I'm picking up like worms and, caterpillar energy. So, that's more like being in the ground. And sometimes the imagery with that is kind of like a creepy crawly, like, ooh. And I feel like you want to get out of that state and turn into the butterfly so that you can fly. And because this was toxic, I'm seeing like decay too, like decaying things. And, we talked about entropy and this idea of things kind of coming apart because you're in a frequency with people that are not really supportive of you and not really there for you on your highest path. And that's what's causing your stuff to fall apart as well. And so you actually paying attention to these intuitive insights that you have are allowing you to transform into a butterfly so that you can fly into the destination that you're meant to be in, okay? The next dish we have for you is sweet potato pie. So we're going to get a feather messenger card. We have the magpie. Reevaluate your priorities. It is time to let go of what you no longer need. So yes, you are getting rid of things that you no longer actually need. And magpies, if I remember correctly, they're known for like collecting beautiful, shiny things. They're attracted to that, and they'll like either put them in their nest or they'll like collect it like a treasure. And so I feel like you might have been looking for things that were shiny and that caught your attention. And maybe it was things that were not helpful for you. So maybe these people, maybe this was like the most beautiful person, or it was the man that seemed like he had this, that, and the third. But you found that like not everything that glitters is gold, okay? So yeah, I'm looking it up. I'm just verifying this in the booklet. Yeah, it says that they're known for their attraction to shiny things. They collect them and they hoard. So you might have been just trying to collect all that stuff, thinking that that was right for you because it's on your path. Your light shining brightly, you have this thing, and you're attractive yourself in whatever level. That could be physically, materially, it could be your goals and how you're moving. And so you're attracting people to you because of that. But in this situation, it's showing like an obsession with materialism as well. So these people could have been obsessed with you on a materialistic level. You could have also been connected to them and attracted to them because it was reflecting that back to you. But because also the magpie is a bird of like luck and fortune. Okay, so you seem to be a lucky person. You might have felt like these people were lucky because they look like it, but you found that that's not true. Not everything that glitters is actually gold. And you're learning the power of actually transforming things that don't look on the outside like there's something into the thing that you actually need and what is actually for you. So it's like the balance of that thing. Wanting to be in the energy of being fortunate and having good fortune because that's what you're attracted to naturally. That's what frequency you're on. But then being able to recognize that duality of, but it's not all good. Okay. So the next dish we have is field roast with gravy, and that's going to be a sacred rebel oracle card. And we have what do you feel? So yeah, I feel like what you're doing is, even though you're cutting off the situation because you might have been very emotionally tied to it, you're actually judging, the difference between, apples and oranges in a situation, literally. And on this card, that's what this woman is doing. And she's judging these things as she's looking at an earth. And I feel like you're trying to ground yourself to see, like, how do you really see this? Because you might have been in a state where you weren't grounded because you're surrounded by all this materialism and this, people that may not have been really supporting you, or people that are only supporting you because they think you have something. And that's actually very common. where we tend to gather around people that look like they have something. And it's always been so weird to me, but it's like when you have stars or celebrities, like they don't have to pay for a lot of stuff. They have the money to pay for stuff, but they don't have to. Like they get the most expensive things. People that make the most expensive things, they just want them to wear it. They just want them to have it, or just, all these things so that they look like they are a part of that vibration or whatever the case. But people who genuinely don't have anything, you can see them on the street and just walk or step right over them, don't feel any kind of way. There isn't like this urge to get them more things that they don't necessarily need, And that's how it is with this attraction to this materialism, or people that seem like they have this, it's all vibe. It's all the frequency of the person that they're trying to get into. Someone that's in lack and that needs something, you're not going to give it to them. But see, this can be tricky because sometimes you see things or people that have a lot, and the truth is it might be external that they're in the vibe of that, but they're not actually, they might be tapping into that frequency, but that may not be who they are. So this energy of being on the vibration of materialistic good fortune and luck, you can get on that and not have that be your actual energy. You're just tapping into somebody else's energy. And I feel like that's what was happening. And now you're having to judge according to what you actually feel as opposed to what's around you, and being able to distinguish within that frequency what's an orange, what's an apple, and how does this connect with who I am as a person, period, All right, the next dish we have for you is mac and cheese. And that's going to be our mystical wisdom. Ooh, we have sensuality. Express your sensuality. So some of this too, this is about expressing your creativity, your natural, you could be a creative person and that attracts people to you. You could also be very, an attractive person, or the people that you're dealing with are very attractive people. And that's the other thing. You have like all this, the perfect soup. All right. That wasn't one of the dishes, but we could add it. So you have money, good luck, fortune, opportunity, and sensuality, attractiveness, sexual attraction here, okay? Creative attraction. You have all these things that can make you make it seem as if you're on the right track. But I think you started to recognize the differences of what it looks like on the surface versus what the actual vibe is. And again, we have another butterfly, and I feel like you're trying to transform the energy signal that you give out so that you attract a person that's going to be more on your vibe, because you're coming to realize the importance of that and being clear in what kind of message you send off or give off so that you attract back the person, or friendships, or just relationships. They don't have to necessarily be romantic, but just even partnerships with people that you can link up with that are more in alignment with who you are, that help you to unfold and be your fullest self, okay? All right, and then we have yellow cake with chocolate frosting, which is going to be our mystical shaman oracle. We have the vision quest. The number is 60 there. So I'm going to actually read from the book on this one. All right. It says, find clarity by spending time alone in nature. If you live in a city, go for walks in the park. If you live in the country, make sure that you spend time outside in contemplation. Get off the couch, get away from your desk, and go outside. Spirit helps those who help themselves. So set your intention and ask nature for a guiding vision for your life. So yeah, this to me is about that grounding that we said, that you're looking at the earth and you're kind of like trying to see, what's the difference between these apples, oranges, and what do I really feel? And this comes from a space of needing to ground yourself in nature. So I'm even hearing like literally take your shoes off and go stand in some dirt, or you could be a weirdo like me and like you can go to a tree. And sometimes like what I do, and it is so awesome, it's amazing, I cannot tell you, like literally my feet are tingling when I'm talking about this, but like take your shoes off and go put your feet on the trunks, or not the trunks, the roots, not the trunk. You can put it on the trunk too, but it's better if you put it on the exposed roots and just stand on it. And then you don't look like super crazy, but you're just like kind of standing by the tree, and just like touch the tree and then put your feet on the roots, and it is amazing. Like, try it, you'll feel really good, especially if you tend to like not ground well, or you need that grounding. And I feel like that's also important now because we're moving more to a virtual, realm, and we don't get to have the same, access that we usually do to the outdoors, and that just depends on your area where you're at. But try that, and I think that would be so helpful. All right, and then we have a wild card. And so I'm going to pick a light message. Find your light inspiration message. We didn't have that one. And it says, ooh, I feel confident. All right. Yeah, I feel like you may not have felt confident enough to do this. This woman is under the ocean. I feel like it's being confident that there's other fish in the sea, not in a dismissive way of looking at people like, oh, well, this person is just replaceable, but recognizing that you have the power and capacity to put out a vibe that's going to be more in alignment with who you are, to find true soulmates and tribe that really connect with you. All right, no matter how far you have to go to find that. I'm getting like a Finding Nemo vibe because there's like the little the clownfish this woman's hair, and I just I feel like you have the ability to do that and not get stung in the process. Even if you were to, you can untangle yourself from the tendrils of the jellyfish in the sea, okay? Should you find yourself in another situation like that, to recognize what they are. And that's important because, jellyfish, you can't really see them. It's just the tendrils that are hanging down. So they're like traps to catch you. But I feel like being aware of your propensity to move towards materialism, or just to pick the shiniest thing, can help you to kind of protect yourself from those kinds of situations, okay? All right, so that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope this was helpful, taking a look at what you got on your plate. Thank you for joining me on this channel where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. And until the next video, bye-bye.